Okay. Hello and welcome to the Real Leaders Podcast. My name is Zachary Adler, and today I have a fantastic guest with me. It's Meredith Shay at Incord, CEO and owner. Meredith, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you today, Zach?
I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's awesome to have you, and I'm really excited to learn more about your business.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it as well.
Sweet. Well, just to start, do you want to just give us a little sort of brief explanation of what Incord does and sort of why you guys are doing what you're doing?
Sure. Incord we're a 28-year-old company. We're a small manufacturer in Colchester, Connecticut, and we make custom safety netting solutions, mostly for safety applications in construction or at buildings and warehouses, things of that nature.
Sure. Sweet. And you are a top Connecticut business for the past few years running. Is that correct?
We are. We have a survey in Connecticut that anonymously asks our employees to rate us, and it compares those answers with other employers. And for the past 12 years, we've consecutively been one of the top workplaces.
Congratulations. That's pretty exciting. That must mean you're doing something right.
I hope so.
Yeah, I've been chatting with some other executives about what they think is the most important part of their business and impact in an impact business. And a lot of them said company culture. And from your results, it seems like that's probably top of mind for you as well.
Absolutely. I heard a phrase once that culture eats strategy for breakfast. And I think it's really, really critical. You have a culture that focuses on the mission of the company and it focuses on the people. And if you create that strong culture and everybody is aligned with that, you have really successful results. It doesn't matter what your strategy is. It almost is secondary to focusing on making sure that culture is really high impact for the people that are in it every day.
Yeah, I'm curious to know, has this company culture always been sort of a central point for Incord? Has that sort of always been your main focus, something that's been pushing your business to keep growing?
Yeah, so my father and his partner started the company 28 years ago. They had been working for a company doing something very similar, and the company was going to have layoffs, and they knew it was just a matter of time before they got laid off too. Instead of getting laid off, they said, we can do this, but we're going to do it different. We're going to be an exemplary employer when we do it. We happen to know nets because that's how we know how to make money.
Yeah.
But we're not going to be doing it to get ahead and, squeeze every ounce of profit from the company and, make people miserable. You work for 8 hours a day. It should be something meaningful and that you enjoy doing. And so that was one of the founding principles why they even chose to start a company.
Yeah, I'm guessing that other company that they were fired from, is it still around?
It's not. It got kind of bought a couple different times from different private equity firms, and each time it lost a little bit more of its essence of what it was, and ultimately they stopped selling the products.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fascinating. I kind of guessed that was going to be what your answer was, but yeah, just curious to see that this sort of nature of business is evolving. And I know you're also green business certified. Is that correct? Am I getting that?
We are. Yes.
Yeah. I imagine the first thing when people hear safety netting is not an impact business, someone that cares about their employees as deeply and is green business certified. How did you get to that point?
One of the biggest reasons why we felt we were in business was creating safe places. And when you're doing that as how you connect with customers, of providing them with safety netting so that they have a safe place for their employees or for pedestrians walking on the street, what have you. Sure. We needed to do the same thing at Incord. And we really realized it was more than just being a good employer. It was being a good steward to the company and to the environment and to everything around us, and supporting the community as well. Sure. We really see the company as more than just a place where people come and do some work and leave at the end of the day. It's a community, and it's a big part of our town's community. We're a small town.
Yeah, I know I'm from a small town as well, in Oregon, and we have a Shakespeare festival. And it's something that it brings everyone together. It's sort of I wouldn't call it a tourism industry necessarily, but it's like, there's so many people that work there and support it, and it's just a part of the culture. Like it defines our town, and it's one business.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fantastic that one business can sort of create a culture outside of itself in its surrounding area.
You find people that are passionate
Yeah.
and you tap into that passion that they have and you connect it to what we're doing. And then it feels really aligned for everybody. And it's you see that when you see a culture like that, Shakespeare connecting with people really, they want to be a part of something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that probably matters a lot more than having the highest salary in your industry, or, the best vacation times. It's more about this sort of culture that you're building, and a belief in something more than just profit.
Yeah, I want all of my employees at the company, everybody, to be successful because they're working there. Whether it's personally or professionally, I want them to be growing. And if we can see what they're passionate about and be a part of that support and that journey, sometimes it's related to what we're doing, and sometimes it's a completely different avenue they're taking. But that's how we define our success as an employer, being, treating people with respect and giving them work that's really meaningful to them. It's a huge part of your life. You should enjoy it. I like that we have employees that enjoy what they do and they choose to come in and do it as much because they like their coworkers and what they're doing as anything else. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that in a way, although I don't think you're probably doing it to make your business, well, you are doing it to make your business stronger, but you're not doing it just to, squeeze profits, right?
No.
Yeah, do you find that it lends you a competitive advantage to create this sort of community and, show that you're green certified and really care about the people more than just as an employee, but as a person who's a part of a team?
I do. We're making products that save people's lives.
Yeah.
And if people aren't passionate about that, it would be very difficult to feel safe about what we're sending out to people.
Sure.
You do not want failures, and you have to want people that are aligned with that. So at the end of the day, it ends up allowing us to have the, money that maybe other companies have to spend on poor quality that we can put towards working smarter, working harder, or, better equipment or new technologies or new training. And we just keep reinvesting it in the employees, because that's really our main mission.
Yeah, I hear that. And do you find that your access to really top level talent is something that's easy to find? Like, do you find that they're coming to you instead of having to search them out in the nooks and crannies?
When nobody really knows how to make safety netting or the industry, it's very small. And when we're searching for employees, we're much more searching for people that are aligned with our culture and people that want to be a part of something bigger than themselves.
Sure.
And what we've developed as a company is a variety of training manuals for everything from, cutting and sewing and manufacturing product to how to sell it and how to test it safely, all sorts of things. We're kind of creating our own database of training, because we'd rather have somebody that's aligned with who we are as a company. I really believe everyone has their own genius, and when you give them the right environment, they can grow into a job. And then we're willing to provide, as the employer, all of that training, internally and, externally with various training programs.
Sure. Yeah, no, I that sounds pretty phenomenal in terms of industry standards. So kudos to you on that. I am curious about, again, I wanted to circle back to this green business certification. Is this something that is common in your industry? Do all the other safety netters have this green business certification? And if not, have you found it sort of has changed the face of your business?
I I'm not sure how many other of the companies have it. I think
Mhm.
quite a few do, though. There's a lot. It's a small industry, but everybody's very conscious of the impact that we have on the environment and try to do what we can to minimize that impact while
Mhm.
creating the safest situations for the human beings around us that are nuts protect. So the ways that we can do that with our, how we're doing our buildings and how we're conserving energy, we really try. We try to, and so the green energy, excuse me, the certification,
Yeah.
it came pretty easily to us because we were already doing those things, and then realized we could get a certification showing that we were really putting that at the forefront of how we operated our business.
Yeah, I think one of the common pitfalls that a lot of impact businesses fall into is that they're doing the work and they're not telling people about it. Like you were already probably green business certified years and years ago, and yet putting that label or stamp let everyone know that you were doing that, and it changed your perception from the outside. Um, and I find that it's not really like you don't want to just shout about your impact all day, but it's so important to just talk about it and to let people know that you do care about more than just the bottom line, and that there are other factors to your business that are really, really important. So
Absolutely. And I totally get what you're saying, because I'll hear a news article of a company doing something like, paying for the employees their entire health care. We say, hey,
yeah.
we're doing that. We didn't know that was a thing that you could like
Yeah, talk about
advertise and, was important. We knew it was important, but we didn't think it would be something that others would find positive and, enlightening and inspirational as well.
right. I think, like I said, like there's that competitive advantage that sort of grows the more that you make aware of your internal proceedings to the external world. So you're saying like, this is how we do business. There's no smoke and mirrors. Like it's very
Yeah.
transparent. Um, and I find that transparency plus impact really makes, like nobody wants to work for a company that's polluting the world, or that is, that doesn't care about its employees. And it's just like, young talent wants to find the diamonds in the rough. And it sounds like Incord is definitely one of those places. So I think that's sweet. I wanted to make a quick transition to talk about work-life balance. And I did a little bit of research about your journey with Incord, starting as a more of an entry-level employee. Were you doing project management first? Was that correct? Or was there something before that?
Yes, right out of college, I started working at Incord to do project management.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't anticipate working for my father's company. I really thought I was going to get this entry level job, get a little experience on my resume, and then, move to New York City and have my
Yeah.
actual career.
Right.
And what happened as I was in that position was I really started to love the people that I was working with, and I loved the company, and I loved what I was doing, and I just stayed.
Yeah. Well, it
and
sounds
and then continued to
right.
grow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So in terms of that job transition, what year did you start as project manager?
Started in 2011.
2011. Okay. So between 2011 and your assumption of the role of CEO and owner, I'm sure it's a large swatch of time. I know that during that period you had two children. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And that was during the midst of a big transition, right? From lower level to management, right?
Yes. So
Yeah.
I took a big leap in asking, when the company posted a position for a production manager. I took a big leap from managing projects to applying for a position managing, I think it was about 35 people at the time with no
Yeah.
experience. The
Yeah.
one thing I did have was I was bilingual and had a degree in Spanish as well. And
Sure.
so I told the company, you really care about your employees, and half of them are non-native English speakers.
Yeah.
I can help with that.
Yeah.
So I was really, really worried, but they ended up awarding me the position. And
Mhm.
that started that trajectory towards growing what I was managing and the people I was managing. So the tasks that they were doing. And I expanded from production into inventory and then really all of operations before assuming the role of a CEO at the company. And in my private life, I was getting married and a house and a first kid. And then before I assumed the role of CEO, I found out I was pregnant with my second child.
Right.
And when I went to the senior management team, the top leaders of the company, and asked them if they would accept me as the CEO of the company to lead the company, I had told them there was a big caveat that I'd be gone for 3 months while I have my child.
Right.
And they were all so enthusiastic and accepting me as the CEO and also being accommodating that I'd be gone. And it's not just 3 months. It's difficult for any new parent to, juggle kids and work and what makes sense. So I had an incredibly supportive team though that really stepped up and worked with each other to lead the company while I was on my maternity leave.
Yeah, I would say that not many people are in the confluence of events that you experience of having a child and becoming a CEO at the same time. So that sounds like quite the time. And I'm curious, how did you balance work and life? How did you find sort of a way to manage and grow a company like Incord to be the amazing business that it is and have time to raise kids?
The benefits of being a family-owned business and working with my father and my sister, who are also owners of the company, was they were able to provide me a lot of support and guide rails as far as you really need to be focusing on the business, or everybody understands you have a sick child, go home, we'll take care of this.
Right.
That helped quite a bit, just from a not feeling guilty that I needed to be spending time with a sick child.
Right.
And training people was huge. So when I was gone, nobody was waiting for me for an answer. We had already worked together and trained on, when this comes up, how are you going to respond to that? So the team was really able to rely on each other with that, which meant I wasn't getting those calls, in the evening or, during the day when I wasn't at work to help them with an emergency. They were able to handle it on their own. So that really helped with the work-life balance, just to know I have these dedicated senior managers that I can trust to do a really good job in my absence.
Right. Yeah. It sounds like there's a real fluidity of strategy, and you're not operating in a silo. Like, it's not just you in an ivory tower, like, conducting a business. It's you working with a big team of people that you love and people who you love to work with, who are supporting you. So
absolutely. And I'm supporting them. Right. And that's really what I think my role is as the CEO, is to make sure I'm supporting the people that are carrying forward the vision of the company and the plans for the company to grow and succeed and, sustaining.
Yeah. No, that's sweet. I actually, that very interesting timing. I wanted to bring up a quote that I read in the Incord blog. It said, "Instead of declining, we keep finding new ways to become a new business." So I was curious how you think about business life cycle and how it serves a business to be in this continual route of change and navigating the currents of, being what an impact business is, which is really taking care of your employees, taking care of the world around you, making sure that you're not harming your community, that you're part of it. So how do you continue to become a new business instead of just staying the same?
When we came up with our strategic plan, we really focused on not the hows, but what had to stay the same. And so managers must be present and they must be personal with everyone they are working with. And the company thrives with community and with focus and with collaboration and ideas. And we wanted to always focus on making sure we gave time for those opportunities, for having a rich environment where people had the freedom and the time to think about things. And so deciding that the environment we were creating is what we wanted to maintain, regardless of the change that's happening. So there's all these exterior factors and, the economy and what customers are doing and competitors are doing. And we were able to kind of keep the ship afloat, amid the storms by saying, okay, well, yes, we have to react to this. Anyone would have to, but we're going to do it making sure these things stay intact. Because no change equals death.
Right. Yeah.
Death of a company. So with that kind of safe base that we had, we could look at it at an opportunity. We could look at a challenge and see the opportunity in it. Sure. And have an open mind to what was going to change and how we were doing things, our procedures or the products that we were selling even.
Yeah. So it sounds like there was a real keen emphasis on, not just changing for the nature of change, but being really aware of what should stay the same and what, was important to who you were as a business, and then evaluating like, how do we adapt to a new climate, such as like COVID or something similar.
Yes.
So, yeah. Okay. Well, we are coming to the end of this podcast, and I wanted to ask you a question we ask every one of our guests. And I'm sure we've talked over it so far, but in your words, what's your definition of a real leader?
My definition of a real leader is a person that is able to make immediate decisions, hold themselves responsible for the consequences of that decision, and do it with love in their hearts for the people that are going to get affected. And it requires a very brave person, I believe, to do that, especially when it's bad, when the decision can, adversely affect some of the people you're leading, or it's bad news. That's just as hard and harder than doing it when it's a good decision. But always making sure you're making the right decision on behalf of the people you're leading is a real leader.
I think that's a fantastic answer. I like how you put it. Well, before we wrap, is there anything you wanted to tell our audience? Anything about how they can reach you? Any help you need that you want to put out to the ether?
You can reach us at Incord.com. We've got a fantastic website where you can learn more about netting and how it's used, or if you're interested in learning more about our products or where we're sending our nets off to. And my message to the ether, please just be kind. People have a lot going on in their lives, and I think we all fail to realize sometimes what they're hiding behind the face.
Yeah.
And that kindness is something you can choose to take a step back and focus on first. And I think we'd all be better off for that.
Yeah. Sounds a lot like a Robin Williams quote. Very in vain with that. Well, thank you so much, Meredith, for coming on this podcast, for talking to me, for sharing Incord with our audience. To everyone listening, thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, keep it real. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Have a good day.
Bye.